Here I'm going to do a quick flip through of this book that I made. It's a campaign player's book for the Halls of Arden Vul campaign written by Richard Barton. And I saw a file on the Survivors of Arden Vul Facebook page that kind of inspired me to do this. Someone had posted what they had made for a handout for the players, and I basically kind of took that and I did some editing on some of the information to remove any spoilery type stuff, and then I compiled it into a Word document, and then I was trying to format it, and I was getting really annoyed that it wasn't looking as pretty as I wanted it to. So I asked a friend of mine who has some publishing experience, and they said they do all their stuff in Adobe InDesign. So I said, screw it, made the investment. Took a couple days to figure out how to do it, and then, did it all in there. And then I sent it off to Lulu to have it printed, and then, made some art and stuff. So I figured that cover, a lot of folks made the comment about how the cover looks really cool. I figured it kind of definitely looks Arden Vul-y, dungeon exploration-y. I have kind of like a backplate of what it explains. I've already changed this, so even I literally got this printout of the book today, but even before this arrived, I'd already made some changes. And one of the things I did is I changed the layout of this and made it more oriented this way instead of this way to kind of get rid of all that white space. But basically what this is it's a book of house rules that I'm going to be using to run this campaign, and then all of the player-facing campaign information that was written by Richard Barton for the campaign. And I edited out all the spoilery type stuff and made it so that way the principal idea is a player who has a character that lives in this campaign world. They can very easily come across the information, or they would just know it just from living in the space. So it's kind of the front page with some of the credits. Rich Barton, based on Osric, Matt Finch, and Stuart Marshall, and then obviously Dave Arneson and Gary Gygax for the Dungeons and Dragons. I did go to Drive-Thru RPG and pay for some art for the book. The cover, for example, is one. There's more art throughout. And then Andreas Claren, he's was the cartographer, did some of the art in the original printing, and he on the Facebook page posted a couple of maps, so I snagged one of those maps. And then the Town of Gosterwick map that I have in here, that was used in the 3D6 Down the Line live play of the Halls of Arden Vul, so I was able to find that map and kind of made some edits on it to do some notes. And then the world map, I made my own version of it using WonderDraft. So basically, first part is character creation information, and it's not a retelling of the rules. It's basically just the house rule changes. So it's more of a reference for the house rules that would apply to the actual Osric rules. And then the rest of the book is all the campaign information. That the idea is not that the players have to read it, but I would basically have this book handed to the players at the table, and then if they were so inclined to put the effort into reading it, then they would have it available to them, and it would be all the stuff that would be safe for them to know. So that was a pretty cool piece of art, kind of Arden Vul-y in its own way. This introduction I pulled from the actual Arden Vul page. Pretty beautiful prose, so I was like, I gotta include it. Yeah, so basically character ancestries, referring to them as ancestries because the Osric 3 that's coming out, that's how they're referring to. They're no longer calling them races, they're updating it to refer to them as ancestries. A couple of house rules as far as changes. Made my own charts for ancestry ability limits and level limits for classes. information for the dwarf, basically all the information for all the demi-humans and humans, basically pulled from the Arden Vul book. One new character ancestry that players could do in the book suggested that the Imperial Goblin use the gnome, and so I basically made some adjustments for the gnome and house rebuilt it, and a little bit nudged a little bit here, nudged a little bit there, and so I did a full stat layout for the Imperial Goblin. Then actual character class house rules that apply. Cleric, illusionist, magic user, mostly having to do with some campaign specific nuances. Couple of house rules for multiclassing, specifically how multiclassing hit points are determined. Couple of house rules that I'd like to be to call out. Big one in the campaign setting is there's no plate armor, so I just made a note for that. Osric uses tracks encumbrance in pounds. I like the original AD&D of tracking encumbrance in coins, so I'm just making a note for that. Kind of my clarification of how I plan on adjudicating the use of infravision in the game, and then also spell memorization house rule, making it more in line with the way it was in the AD&D book. So yeah, here's starting to get into all the campaign stuff. That was all like the Burdock's Valley. That's the immediate campaigning area. Nice little piece of art. And then this is the map that was used in the 3D6 Down the Line live play, and then I redid the locations on the map and called them out here. And then this is all the campaign information that the players would know about the town of Gosterwick and the surrounding immediate area. In each location description, the services that you'd find there, and the NPCs that would be located there. And in the Arden Vul book, there's a lot of information about specific levels and classes that each NPC would be, or as if they had any monetary value available to be stolen by a thief character or something like that. So I took all that kind of information out, and I kind of treated. I didn't. I kind of codified the information for character class level. I used the level names for, kind of like how AD&D had. So you could, if you picked up an AD&D book and used the player handbook to you could probably figure out, if you did the work, what level and class each specific character was by that. But so yeah, there's Gosterwick, and then moving on to, there's the campaign world. This is the map that I made in Wonder Draft. And then basically just all the player-facing information of the campaign world, all the, background information about NPCs or the history, with all the stuff that would be spoilers or give away secret hints about stuff. I removed all of that. So I went through everything with a pretty fine-tooth comb to get rid of any spoilery type information. And then finally, appendices. Made up the charts for the deities, for all the pantheons, the gods. And then redid the weapons charts from Osric to bring them up to the Osric 3 standards, and then also added, there was 3 weapons that were deity favored weapons that weren't in the Osric list, so then I found stats for them and added them to the list. And then ranged weapons. And then they're all statted out and in accordance with Osric 3. And then basically your adventuring gear table for, you know, cost and encumbrance. And all the encumbrance value has been adjusted to reflect encumbrance in coins. And that's that. So I appreciate that. I appreciate all the interest everybody's shown me. Like I said before, even before I got this book, I've already made some changes. There's a couple of, you know, editing type stuff inside the book on a couple of pages, or a little bit of changing of wording, changing around that I've already made. So even this book is obsolete. It'll be a one of a kind, but not available for sale. So sorry guys, this is for my own people at my own gaming table. But I appreciate everybody's interest. A couple people were wanting to know like what the inside looked like. So that's what I've done. There it is. Happy gaming. I'll talk to y'all later.